5. Television news coverage gives viewers a sense of direct involvement with current events, but does not provide the depth of coverage needed for the significance of those events to be appreciated. Newspapers, on the other hand, provide depth of coverage, but no sense of direct involvement. Unfortunately, a full understanding of current events requires both an appreciation of their significance and a sense of direct involvement with them. Therefore, since few people seek out news sources other than newspapers and television, few people ever fully understand current events. So we're being told that TV news coverage gives you a direct sense of involvement, but it doesn't give you depth of coverage. And newspaper does the opposite. It gives you depth of coverage, but it doesn't give you the sense of direct involvement. To have a good understanding or a full understanding of current events, you need both an appreciation of significance or depth of coverage to get that, and a sense of direct involvement. So basically, what that means is okay, well, the TV will give you the direct involvement, and the newspaper will give you a sense of appreciation um, of the significance. And then we're being told with all this information that since few people seek out news sources other than newspapers and television, few people ever fully understand current events. So people don't look for other news sources except for newspapers and televisions. And because of that, they won't fully understand current events. What they're doing here is acting like people won't use both TV and newspapers. They're making it seem like people will go for one or for the other. And if they go only for television news coverage, then they'll only have that sense of direct involvement. If they go only for newspapers, they'll only have the appreciation of significance. But what if they do both? There's no reason to believe that people won't do both. And if they were to do both, then they'll have both things required to have a full understanding. And if they have both things, then we don't have to believe that few people will ever fully understand current events. So I'm looking for that for an answer choice that says, why not both? Why can't we have something where people read newspapers but also watch TV news? The reasoning in the argument is flawed because the argument, A, treats two things, neither one of which can plausibly be seen as excluding the other, as though they are mutually exclusive. So I like A lot. The two things that they're talking about are one, television news coverage, and two, newspapers. Um, these two things are not excluding each other, but the argument treats them as if they were mutually exclusive and that you can only pick one or the other. So I like A lot. B, ignores the possibility that people read newspapers or watch televisions for reasons other than gaining a full understanding of current events. They don't say that. They're not ignoring that possibility. They're just saying that we won't have a lot of people who fully understand current events. That doesn't ignore the possibility that people care about other things. So B is out. C, makes crucial use of the term depth of coverage without defining it. We don't need to define it. We don't need to know what that means. So C is out. D, fails to consider the possible disadvantages of having a sense of direct involvement with tragic or violent events. What? This came out of nowhere. We don't need to consider the possible disadvantages of having a direct sense of involvement. We're just talking about why we need that direct sense of involvement and what having that direct sense of involvement means. We don't need to consider the pros and cons of it. So D is out for that. E, mistakenly reasons that just because something has a capacity to perform a given function, it actually does so. We're not saying that, like, okay, television news coverage can give you a direct sense of involvement, so it absolutely will do that. We're not saying that at all. We're not assuming that. So E is out. And then I'm left with A.